debate mode. And today we have two probably the best people to have for a debate. Actually, I didn't tell you this, but Sona, you were like one of the first persons I followed when I got on Twitter. And I was like, wow.
That's awesome.
You can say that stuff on Twitter? That's sweet.
I guess.
and Linda G, who I just recently started following you, and I really like that you take up for females like almost all the time. It's the best thing ever. Like, there are other women on Twitter that are fantasy people but don't really take up for females like you do. So anyway, we are going to this is a format that involves 4 questions. They will debate or discuss each question. Hi, David. And then at the end, they get 15 minutes at the most. If they need more, they can take it to rant on any topic they want. I don't care what it is. And there's no censorship here. You do whatever you want. But before we start, we're going to find out a little bit about each one. And Linda, we'll start with you first. And I would like to know how you got started in fantasy football and what's your obsession with Truly? Because did it at all?
Well, I'll start with fantasy football because there's a clear path. My dad needed a 12th team member or league member one year, and I was working like 12-hour shifts, taking my kid to work with me to sit in like a bassinet in the back. I was like, I absolutely do not have time for this. So he drafted my team for me anyway, and then I managed it all season, and I was bit by the bug. I was ready to go as soon as it was over. I'm way too competitive, and it was like the perfect outlet for that. And my Truly is just, I tried White Claws last year for the Super Bowl while I was like cooking, and I was like, oh, I'll drink this, like sip on it, and then I won't be hammered by the time the game starts. Wrong. And then I was like, oh, you don't have to drink very
quickly if you're not paying attention.
Yeah. And the White Claws, man, they give me a hangover. I maybe get heartburn if I also eat a cup of chips and salsa the night before with my Trulies. But for the most part, I wake up feeling just fine, get to work, do my thing.
So you started playing fantasy before you started writing about fantasy? Is that?
Oh, yeah. I started playing fantasy before I watched all the NFL games. I mean, fantasy really led to watching football and being able to talk about it for me.
Interesting. Nice. And Stoner, we can talk about your shoe collection, but how did you get started, or why did you get started in fantasy?
I started playing fantasy football, I guess it was the mid-90s, with my brother and just some friends from the kids I grew up with in the neighborhood decided to, just enhance our love of the game and let's try this fantasy football thing out. We were literally keeping score by hand. It was super basic, touchdowns. If you get 100 yards, you catch a bonus. And then progressively through the years, we started adding some more scoring when we got a little more comfortable. But it's pretty interesting. We still talk smack to some people about really bad draft picks. One of my boys drafted Achilles Smith when he was a rookie for the Bengals, and he drafted him in the first round. I think he was fucking horrible. We still shit on him when we get a chance. But I mean, I still talk about Fred Taylor, drafting him as a rookie. Like, he was one of my first early like sleeper finds that I knew was going to be a superstar. So yeah, I mean, I'm still playing in that league. We've lost a few players and replaced them with new ones, but that league is like 20 something years still playing. I can't get them off of ESPN, but we did just get rid of kickers finally last year. I'm sure Linda will have a say about that later.
We're going to talk about it.
And then your sneaker collection?
Yeah, I just love like cool shoes, man. I think,
cool shoes.
It used to be when I was a kid, I really liked having really cool Nikes, but they were expensive. So when I was like 11, I convinced the newspaper guy, the guy that ran like the local paper, to hire me as one of his delivery guys, even though I wasn't old enough. So I could keep myself in cool Nikes and video games. the only two things like a teenager needs at that point.
True.
Yeah, so Bo Jacksons and then some Jordans, and it really got into it. I like the loud and obnoxious ones because they suit my personality. But now it's a point where, like, if I see them, I just buy. I got to buy some new sneakers. I get a little itch. I buy a couple. My son is really into Jordans too, so I try to keep his shoe game on point. But I mean, we were talking about the Dior's at the inauguration. Those things are like $2,200,
Jesus.
and now they're selling for probably 3 times that because they got all that hype on the inauguration. I'm not at that level. I wish I was at that shoehead level. I'm looking at the clearance section on Nike to buy the old ones that still look dope, but nobody wears them right now because they're 9 months old. So, it's a modified shoehead game for sure.
Modified shoehead game.
Well, I mean, what was so crazy about
it's a budget shoehead, maybe.
He was like walking down the stairs. Like, he wasn't even the focal point. It was him walking down the stairs behind the Minnesota woman, Klobuchar, talking. And everyone was like, oh my God, look at his shoes. And I'm like, what is happening?
That's the beauty of, that stuff didn't happen 30 years ago. But now somebody on Twitter will zoom in on those kicks and be like, wait a minute, what are they? What are those?
Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to get started because I have a feeling this is going to be way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was going to be pretty interesting. Hey, Jay. Hey, Jay from the podcast with Upside is here.
I'm old enough to remember Linda before she started writing for fantasy stuff, too. Her and I go way back before all that stuff.
I've been encouraging my descent into content creation for far too long. So honestly, you guys can all blame him.
Yeah, I gave her a little push. I told her to go for it, and she finally went for it, and clearly it's working out.
Dude, clearly it is. Congratulations on the Matthew Berry on your podcast.
Thank you.
That was very interesting. But did you encourage her to use kickers in her fantasy football rosters? Because that's what we're going to talk about first. We're going to discuss the use, whether or not the pros and the cons of having a kicker on your fantasy football. And Linda, I'll let you start because we know where you stand on this.
The show just ends. We're going to lose the whole audience right out of the gate. Listen, I understand that people are like, you never know what's going to happen. But we didn't know that Lamar Jackson was going to have to poop right in the middle of the game. We don't know we don't know when players are going to get hurt. There's already uncertainty.
I didn't expect a Lamar Jackson poop argument. I'm gonna need to go back to the drawing board here.
I go deep, man. They cut you cut me. But it's a part of the game for me. So if they go out onto the field and they're performing, then I want to be able to get excited about that. My dad was a kicker at Oklahoma State. It's in my blood. So you guys can say whatever you want to me. I'm always
there. It is. That's the truth.
Yeah. Who are your kickers that you drafted this year?
This year I was a big. Well, I stream kickers and tight ends and quarterbacks like in redraft like a normal human. But I had a lot of Tyler Bass. And I had a lot of Jason Sanders. I got on both those trains very early in my redraft leagues. And that's like the fun part to me. It's just fun. On Thanksgiving, I go out and kick the ball. I don't throw the ball with my boy cousins. Like they throw it. I'm like, I'm going to punt it. Back up. So it's fun for me. And I think you should be able to turn that part of the game into fun.
I don't disagree that it's a nice variable for sure. I just think, you're banking on the offense to be good enough to get you in the red zone, but not good enough to score touchdowns because you want field goals. I just think maybe there's some different things you can do scoring-wise that makes them, you know what I mean, that tweaks it up and makes it more fun. I mean, look, I've played with kickers my whole life, so I'm over them now. I'm good. And here's what happened. A few years ago, I played in a league against Jake Seeley, who is the king of the no kickers, right? Mm-hmm. This dude, we were in a league with kickers. He played all year with no kicker. He played short every week. I think he went 11-2, and I ended up losing to him in the championship because Greg Zuerlein missed the fucking field goal. So I immediately threw kickers out the door.
So what I'm hearing is that it's also an emotional detachment for you, just the same way that it's an emotional detachment.
Still 3 years later.
That's every time I talk to a band kicker, I'm not saying you are, but every time I talk to a band kicker, I don't know, cult member, I'm not sure what the right word is.
That's the right phrase for it.
There is always a story about the time they lost by 2 points because some kicker did something. Yeah. You know what? And me and Todd Gurley got bad blood for the same reason, but I'm not out here talking about band running backs.
And my home league, the one that has been running since the late or mid 90s, we just got rid of kickers this past year. The initial thought was to mix them in with the defense, to make it like a kicker defense thing. And then finally, we're just like, fuck it. And we added more flex players because everybody wants more offense. That's really what it was all about. So,
well,
I mean, if your league has kickers, I won't hate you. I'm leaning to the side of not having kickers.
Well, that's fair. Also, I'd like to say, play however you want to play. It's a freaking computer game. But I am going to run an all-kicker punter league next year, so I'm gonna force you both to play that.
See, that's something I'd get in on because that's different. You know what I mean? That's fun. Like you could sprinkle special teams in there too. Like do some different. Like
if I could figure out a way to get like long snappers and shit, I would do it if I could figure out a way.
Bro, you lose points if your holder drops the ball in the extra point.
Yeah, you better be watching your holder film.
There's ways I don't even know who the holders are. Half the time it's the punter, right?
I think so. Yeah. Again,
there you go. If you have a punter that is also the holder and he botches a snap, you lose points.
Might be fucked.
I like that.
Especially if your punter plays for the Kansas City Chiefs because he wasn't very good.
Oh, yeah. He was a rookie. He was like, he's a rookie.
In his defense, he doesn't have to kick a lot this season.
Yeah.
Credit.
Went into the game. He was like really surprised when every time they called him out on the field. He's like, "What?
What? I'm just supposed to be here."
Yeah, I know. He was the one with the really long hair too, right? He was like, "What? I'm not. No, it's not supposed to be me out here." So
doing bong rips from the sidelines. That's what he's doing. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, I agree, I guess, with both. I mean, every league that I played in, we have kickers, and I had Young Hoku. So, and I'm telling you, I've scored a couple of my offensive players, which I'm not sure if that says more about the kicker position or my ability to draft people. So we'll just let that one slide.
But like Linda said, she hopped on the wagon of some dudes that scored a ton of points. If you sneak one of them in early.
Yeah.
Just like if you snag a tight end early, before they blow up this year, like you're in great shape.
I compare kickers to tight ends a lot. It's a very similar, like with tight ends, there's 3-4 that are like, you're like guaranteed a big game most of the time. That's usually the same way with kickers. And a lot of kickers will outscore those 8 to 12 tight end spots because it's a crapshoot.
So it sounds like what you're saying is you want to combine the kicker and tight end position, and that is weird shit that I might be into. That's weird.
That might not be a bad idea. A flex position that you can do a tight end or a kicker.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's an extra flex spot. It's either a tight end or a kicker.
All right, because we talked about the punter for the Kansas City Chiefs, we have to, after the Super Bowl Monday, talk about the Super Bowl because, it's an obligation. It's a duty. We can talk. I want to talk about the defenses on both teams, although I don't want to talk about the quarterback not to be named whose initials are TB12.
Fuck that guy. Fuck him.
We will not speak of him at all. So, talking about the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes running for his life, was that more of a, oh my God, my offensive line sucks, or more of Todd Bowles and the front seven just going for it all game long?
I think both is an option because certainly his offensive line being hurt was not good, but Todd Bowles' defense is no bullshit. That front seven's I mean, they're the best in the league, and I think they showed that last night. I'm not sure that it would have flipped the script a whole lot had the entire O-line been healthy.
I have to agree completely. I think it would have made a little bit of a difference if Fisher was in there, even just from a confidence level. I think, having those guys in there, the other guys probably lose a little confidence too, knowing they got to work a little hard. But yeah, that defense was disgustingly good. I mean, and even if you watch when they were running screen passes, the linebackers were all over it. That didn't have anything to do with, the offensive line, really. I mean, they were on point. So Todd Bowles actually, I think, deserves
someone did. I guarantee
you. I wish I was that dumbass.
Who won MVP?
He shall remain nameless.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I stopped watching the game, all cards on the table in third quarter. I went to start watching Person of Interest again from the season 1, because it was way more interesting than watching whatever. So what were you going to say, Linda? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say two things. One, that the only points came from the Chiefs kicker. So, and two is the assistant defensive line coach is a woman. So that's for Tampa Bay. So,
that's what we were talking about. Arians, we wanted him to win, but we didn't want the other dude to win again. I mean, Arians' coaching staff has minorities and females, and it's just perfect. And he does it the right way and doesn't give a shit what the perception is. So,
and it was cool.
He's a great guy.
He's like, and when they asked him about it, which of course they're going to, he was like, "I got the best people for the job. It wasn't a minority hire. It wasn't a female hire. These were the best people in the position for the job." And he has the most diverse coaching staff. It's truly remarkable.
It gives me Popovich vibes.
I love Pop.
Yeah, you can't not love Pop. He's the best.
I do love him. Yeah. But okay, so another Super Bowl question before we move on that I must ask: who did you think should have won on the field MVP?
I want to give it to an entire defense.
Yeah, at least the defensive front. I mean,
yeah, Shaq Barrett.
Yes. Those guys just destroyed everyone all night. So
yeah,
I mean, it's like back in the old days on the Thanksgiving games, they would give out to like the turkey to someone who did well. And Emmitt Smith would run for like 200 yards, and they would give it to the whole offensive line. I'd like to give the turkey to like the whole defensive front seven of Tampa Bay.
I thought a defensive player should have gotten it too. In fact, for some reason, I thought a defensive player did get it. All right, so let's not talk about Super Bowl anymore, because I'm feeling if we do, then we have to talk about
drink heavily.
Drink heavily. Yes, let's talk about alcohol. Let's talk about, Linda, what are you drinking?
Rum and pineapple juice.
Oh, and Stoner, you're drinking JMO on the rocks.
Jameson, yes.
I'm not that ballsy.
So what is the most underrated adult beverage?
Man.
Say underrated or overrated?
Underrated.
Oh, no, that's a tough one, man.
There's a lot. I think
everyone could do it.
I think it depends on what social gathering you're at. Because, like, sometimes I want to drink wine with my friends on a weeknight, and I think that's fine. And I think that particular matchup is undervalued or underrated.
All right, let's narrow that topic then. What is the most underrated adult beverage during a fantasy draft?
Ooh. Man, what do I make the worst decisions on? I don't know. Tequila shots might be fun at the end of every round, at least for the.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go.
I was literally just about tequila because I never drink tequila during a draft.
I don't think I would crush margaritas and then draft my fantasy football team, but now that I'm talking about it, it sounds kind of fun.
Wait,
Yeah.
you do shots after every round?
Uh, God, no.
So, sometimes.
How do you make it through like enough rounds? How do you make it? You cannot do a shot after every round. There's no way.
I mean, oftentimes I'm taking bong hits after each round. So, I mean, either way, I'm getting fucked up on something.
So, and you think how many rounds? Let's say you're going 12 rounds.
Yeah, if we're doing a home league, it's probably 16 rounds. So, I mean, we're hitting something or smoking something between every round. I probably end up doing 8 shots and drink beers in the midst of that whole draft that probably starts out nice and smooth, but ends up taking like 5 hours because everyone gets hammered. Yeah, it's fun. It's always a great time. That's one of my only live drafts that we still do. I mean, we still get together and do it in person. It's pretty awesome.
Okay. Do you guys take shots if you call a player that's already been drafted?
You got to finish your beer.
Yeah, you have to. There's punishment for that.
Okay.
Graham, my boy Graham does it 3 times a draft. every time, I swear to God. I'm pretty sure he'll draft people that have already been drafted. He'll draft players that have just gotten hurt in the preseason and are like done for the year. And he'll also draft someone that has retired after the previous year. Yeah, that's Graham. He gets hammered by the 10th round.
I think I'd want to play in the league with Graham.
He just passed the bar too, by the way. He's a lawyer in college.
Yeah, of course he is.
I'm a lawyer. What's the most overrated alcoholic beverage, adult beverage?
God, Crown and Coke, man. I'm so tired of it.
I'm not a gin drinker.
I don't drink gin because my mom told me that gin made her mean. And I'm very similar to my mother. So I was like, I should just avoid that.
And I was thinking about wine too. Like, I think there are good wines, right? And there are perfect times, like Linda said, to drink wine. But I think there are some people, and it's probably because it's my ex-wife who I'm thinking of, who would drink wine all the time. And I'm like, it's not really that good, right? Like, it's not that good. And she's drinking that shit every night, right? Like, so I have wine PTSD.
I think wine drinkers are the snobbiest drinkers. Well, they might tie with whiskey drinkers. Very, like, the snobby end of that spectrum. If wine snobs knew that my favorite wine was $4 at the gas station, they would laugh at me relentlessly.
Is it the Boone's Farm or the Arbor Mist?
Arbor Mist.
Arbor Mist we had some nights on Arbor Mist, bro. You get the big boys.
Uh-huh.
You just pass it around till it's empty. Hell yeah.
Exactly. I don't want to drink stuff that doesn't taste good. And yeah, I used to be a Keystone drinker, but it tastes like water, so I think I get a pass. But I want it to taste yummy while I get drunk.
And Arbor Mist tastes good and gets you hammered, dude.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's very cheap. It's for the alcoholic on the budget.
I'm the poster child for the alcoholic on a budget.
Bro, been there. So I feel you.
I think he was calling you an alcoholic on the budget. So, Stoner, this one specifically for you. What is the most overrated weed? Like East Coast stuff?
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, they have medical stuff out here now that's not bad. It's definitely better than the garbage you buy from the homie on the street. But for me, like, I'm not much of a sativa guy. I like the couch box. I want to hit the indicas. The sativas are good for me when I do smoke them because I don't smoke them very often. So if I really need, like a day weed that I need to be productive and be creative, they're really good. But I think I found my level of indica where I can be creative on that shit. I don't know. Definitely get your weed from Cali if you can. Colorado's probably just as good. What do you think, Linda? I know you like to imbibe and smoke trees.
I know
Smoke Bobby trees.
this is gonna come as a shock, but I'm a sativa fan, if you can't tell from my like everything. But I want to ask you what you think your most overrated form of weed intake is. Because for me, it's dabs. They're great, but they kill me. I feel like I've been assaulted. Now I'm not having a good time. I'm sweating. I can't breathe.
Yeah, I love a good dab though.
Oh man,
Get it right.
stoned, but
I just, you know, I don't know. I always thought gravity bongs were, like you said, that's how I always got with the gravity bong. You'd be dying in the corner for 30 minutes, you crying. Like, and now you didn't even get to enjoy the high. Like, those
yeah, now
were,
I'm just stupid. Like I can't talk because I'm too high.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've rekindled my admiration of rolling blunts. I really have been doing a lot more of that recently. I really like, because I like smoking outside. It's hard to do it here though, because it's fucking 20 something degrees right now. I'm used to my Cali temperatures where I could just literally walk outside and light up a fucking joint and take a walk around the neighborhood, and I'm good to go. Can't do that shit here in the colds of New Jersey.
You can't do that shit here because it's Oklahoma.
It's not legal there.
It's medically legal, so you got to get your card and see a doctor and all this stuff.
How difficult is that in Oklahoma?
I don't have my card.
I'm asking because before, like now, it's legal in California recreationally, but when I first moved out there, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I found a doctor. I paid like $40 cash.
Oh no, you gotta.
I was having trouble sleeping and I couldn't take Ambien because I get night terrors. And she's like, "Oh, here you go."
Yeah, you gotta apply online, and then so first you have to apply to even see the doctor, and then you have to see the doctor, and then but it's like $300 altogether.
So you have a state issued doctor that is the one kicking out those. Yeah, no, in California there were just shady people in the side of a gas station.
Nope.
That were making hundreds and hundreds of dollars an hour because they were seeing at least 6 to 8 people an hour and getting $50 a head.
Yeah. No, we're not. It's Oklahoma, so it'll be another 12 years or so before we're up to date with everybody.
Yeah. New Jersey just voted it legal this past year, so it's not actually actively legal yet. But I got friends over in PA that got their medical cards, so I cruise over there and grab some shit when I need it.
Yeah, it's all about who you know.
You have a medical card though, don't you? No, not in Jersey?
No, I had one in California, not here. It is medically legal here in New Jersey. But I also got friends that ship me stuff from Cali. But, you know, you can only do that so often.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard. I don't know. I live in Denver. I live in Colorado, so it's been legal. All right, we're going to go back to football, fantasy football. The landing spot for Deshaun Watson for fantasy football purposes.
The Denver Broncos.
That's easy. I knew you were going to say that.
You're going to say the 49ers, aren't you?
I knew this was going to become a Homer conversation. I knew. But, I mean, those are probably two of the better spots, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Two of the best offenses. I wouldn't be mad if he was throwing Deebo Samuel the ball. Listen. But I would really be a lot happier if he was throwing it to Cortland Sutton. I know.
What are they doing with Tim Patrick, though? Are they bringing Tim Patrick back?
I don't know. I don't think Tim Patrick will be a Bronco next year.
I like him. He's solid.
I do, too. I think he had a great year on a year where he can leave, you know. He had the year you want to have when you're about to hit open market, but I don't think he'll be a Bronco next year.
Absolutely. And then I like Hambler too. Like I don't hate him as a draft pick. But now that you're getting Sutton back, you definitely need a quarterback though.
I'm just gonna say it right now. If Broncos roll out Drew Lock next year, find me on the Twitters defending the shit out of Drew Lock because it's who I am. I own a Trevor Siemian jersey, for God's sake. You're the one?
You're the one that thought that?
The one. Well, her and his mom.
Mom doesn't
Probably
even-
our best quarterback in the last since Peyton Manning retired. Okay, like I know it's funny, but if you think about his track record, it's probably true. And so I'm just saying, if it's Drew Lock, you'll like I get it. I know he's not great. He hasn't had a whole lot of consistency as coaching. He's been injured. He's had his best players injured. So I think there are a lot of things that I can use and will use if I need to as excuses going.
So you're willing to give him a chance, is what you're saying?
Yes, always. Well, not always.
That's kind of where I'm at with Jimmy G too. Like, he's not the worst quarterback in the league by far, but he's clearly not the best. He also took us to a Super Bowl. We were 8 minutes away from winning that damn game. But if you can get Watson, I mean, you got to go and get Watson. Like,
Absolutely.
I told my homie, he's a Niner fan too. I'm like, yo, I'm all in. I'm all in on Watson. I know that the salary cap's going to keep rising, and we've seen plenty of teams make money magically appear. So I'm not even worried about that. Like, you go and get Watson. That dude went, 33 touchdowns and 7 picks for the Texans?
Yeah.
God, you put him on a team with Debo and Kittle and Ayuk and a solid offensive line and running game with Shanahan. Oh my God, he's QB1 in fantasy.
No, I wouldn't be mad about him going to either team, except for that it won't be, one of our teams.
Right. Yeah.
So Stoner, what are you willing to give up for the 49ers to get Watson?
All of it, whatever it takes. No,
really?
I can't say that because I've seen rumors that it's like Fred Warner and a couple first. We're not giving you players, bro. We're not giving you Fred Warner, an all-pro one of the best linebackers in football, plus a couple first-round picks. Nah, we're good. But if they can throw Jimmy G that way and they want to give up their next 2 firsts and, whatever, yeah, I'm down. I'm not giving up Bosa and I'm not giving up Warner and clearly Kittle. You're not getting rid of him. There's a handful of players you're keeping. Everything else to me is expendable if you can bring in Deshaun Watson because he's a guy that will win you a Super Bowl with that team. And he will be an MVP with that team. They're ready to go as long as they stay healthy, of course.
Linda G, what is you want for Denver willing to give up for Watson?
Yeah, I think the same goes. I'm not trying to give up. Obviously, there are a few more weapons in San Francisco, but I think there's enough. We've got Melvin Gordon for another year, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, who I know had some drops.
You got weapons, dude. You got weapons.
Yeah, I think he improves. Garrett Bowles had a hell of a season this year. Much improvement from what he was doing.
Probably if it weren't for Alex Smith or whoever, if it weren't for Josh Allen, Bowles would have been like the most improved player of the year. Sorry to interrupt, but that dude was dope.
Yeah, I mean, he went from having a holding call like every play to almost none this year. But I think, Drew Lock, the 9th pick, and probably a future first pick, and then maybe some sprinkled in players. I wouldn't be surprised if Von Miller isn't a Bronco next year while we're on that subject. I think the Broncos are going to look very different next year, regardless of if they get Deshaun Watson or not. But I would certainly give up a comfortable amount in order to see him in orange and blue.
Hey, Troy.
And the good thing for the Niners, they got a bunch of supplemental picks coming up in the next few years. Bobby Saleh is gone, so they've lost coaches and players. So they have additional third rounders that they can kind of use as bait too. Like I said, I'm willing to go all in for Watson. Let's go. And I love Jimmy G. I'll defend Jimmy G till the day I die. Him and his chiseled jaw, that handsome motherfucker. But
that's it. My mom's just worried that she isn't going to get to see him in an NFL uniform next year. I was like, I think you're going to be okay.
She'll be fine.
Okay. So that's a trade. Quarterbacks in free agency. You want any of them? Or are you going to keep Jimmy G for the 49ers, Stoner?
Well, I mean, Dak Prescott's a free agent, right? I think Dak Prescott's another guy that would thrive in a Shanahanian. I don't think that's a word, but I just made it one. Shanahanian offense. I don't know. It really depends on who else is out there. I don't hate Sam Darnold as a fallback option. I would love to see him somewhere in like Washington, where a guy like Ron Rivera could kind of boost his confidence and build him up a little bit.
What about Jameis?
I think we're stupid if we believe that Sean Payton's going to let him leave New Orleans. They got all the crabs down there for him to steal, right? Don't they have a lot of seafood and shit down there?
Wow. That's wow.
Come on, think about Jameis and Sean Payton's offense, a guy that can now throw the ball down the field. Michael Thomas can actually run routes that are more than 5 yards.
Well, he didn't use him this year except for that one play. I mean, I just think that Sean Payton is that man who thinks that he's smarter than everybody else, and he's going to say, I can pull Taysom in here, and I can make him a superstar. I just see that out of Sean Payton. I can see him giving up Jameis.
Here's a question then, since we're talking quarterbacks. If you had the choice between Taysom Hill and Mitchell Trubisky, who are you choosing?
Trubisky.
Yep.
That's an easy one, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't understand the love of Taysom Hill. I just don't get it. Like, I get him as a gadget guy, and he's perfect for what he does, but he's not a starting quarterback for me.
Totally.
The Sean Payton, I think that's the Sean Payton ego.
It's the puckered anus that he has for a mouth. I hate that.
Wow.
I hate it.
I don't think I've ever heard that phrase before.
Yeah. I'm going to be looking for that now, so thank you.
Linda G, would the quarterbacks that are on free agency right now, would you want any of them instead of Locke for Broncos?
I don't know about instead of. I'd love to bring in like Ryan Fitzpatrick and have him there. If it meant picking one of them, I would probably start Ryan Fitzpatrick. But to give Drew Lock like that kind of mentor, if we could also keep him on the team, would be I would eat that shit up all day long. I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's a problem.
It's hard not to. He's a fantastic dude, man.
Yeah, I love him.
Did you guys know he went to Harvard?
Really? That's the first.
I think he's great. I think, I wouldn't mind him anywhere. Like, I just want to see him play some more. Like, he's just fun for the league.
I think he's great. I wouldn't want to see him with the Steelers, but I think he's absolutely awesome. So
we already got an old quarterback there.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Steelers.
So we can.
Let's talk about that. What do you think about them bringing Haskins in?
I'm very curious as to why they bought Haskins in on a 1 year. It was right after they got rid of the Duck guy, and there's still Rudolph and Dobbs there. I don't know. I'm all for Deshaun Watson going to the Steelers. Like that's my dream thing, and if it happens, I'm probably not going to ever like talk again to anyone for that whole season because I'll just be like slobbering over Deshaun Watson with the wide receivers that we have. But I don't know why they bought Haskins in. I think Haskins is a good quarterback. I think that he's young and dumb, and the Steelers organization is known for, being a good organization, and I think Tomlin might think that he can.
That was my thought. And I think Tomlin is a dude who feels like I can reel him in, and give him, I don't know, give him somebody he can look at and trust, and maybe he just needed a new atmosphere, a new arena.
Well, you got to think they held AB in check for 2-3 years, so they're good at controlling the crazy cray that happens. Although Juju kind of let it loose this year.
Yeah, what's up? I went to USC with him, so I know Juju. He's always been that type of dude that just loves that attention. He's a nice guy. Don't get twisted. Juju's
No, I think he's
phenomenal.
a great guy.
But he has always been that type of diva. Do you think he stays or goes?
I think he's gone. I don't think he stays. I think he's gone. I think the Steelers, like you were saying, you think the Broncos are going to be completely different. I think the Steelers are going to look a lot different next year. I don't think James Conner's going to be there. I don't think Juju's going to be there. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to afford Bud Dupree. So I think the Steelers are going to look a lot different. I don't even know if Roethlisberger actually is going to be the starting quarterback next year. And Marquise Pouncey already said he wanted to retire, so we don't have a center. Yeah, it's not going to be Haskins if Roethlisberger retires, so they'll have to pick up someone. So maybe that Fitzpatrick is looking even better for them. But I think the Steelers are going to be a completely different looking team. You can't go 11-0 and then go 1-4 at the end and then get beaten by the Cleveland Browns in Super Wild Card. With the first play, Marquise Pouncey hiking the ball over your quarterback's head. I mean, that was just
Big Ben looked bad that day too, man.
Oh, they
Big
looked
Ben is a walking, talking piece of arthritis. And
Who is?
Big Ben, he needs to it's time, my friend.
Well,
Every
we know
picture
how
of Big is like,
the Broncos love those old white guys. Maybe they'll bring them in.
don't you put that on me.
I'm like a
They got rid of Elway, so you're good.
I'm like a third generation Steeler fan. Like my parents are both from Pittsburgh and my grandparents are both from Pittsburgh. And I can't stomach Big Ben. I can't. I know he bought us some Super Bowls, but I just want him to go away. Just go away.
I think it's time.
Where do you think Juju ends up?
I honestly think that he, like the Colts, or depending on who they get as quarterback, or, man, I could see him just going for the money. And the Colts really don't have the salary cap right now. But I could see him going to the Colts. I could see him going out to San Fran, like a West Coast team.
That's my pick is the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles.
I wouldn't hate that.
Only because I know Juju and I know he wants to be closer to home.
Yeah. So, okay, are you saying that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to get rid of Mike Williams, or they're keeping Mike Williams and adding Juju?
They'll get rid of Mike Williams, I think.
Do you imagine Juju and Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert?
And how about they draft Kyle Pitts and let Hunter Henry go?
That's too much. Like, it sucks being in a conference with fucking Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, man. I hate it here.
I just created a super team on the West Coast.
Yeah, that's hot.
That would
start a rumor.
I've been pushing it. I've been pushing it since last year. Let's not forget they still got Eckler too, who had a bit of an off year. I mean, they got squad.
Yeah.
Don't the Niners need? I mean, don't the Niners need a good wide receiver? Like Juju's not. I love Juju. He's not a wide receiver one. He's best at wide receiver 2.
You mentioned money. I could see him going to the Jets, especially if they make a move for Watson. Put Juju on the Jets with Watson and Denzel Mims and you know what I mean, that type of squad. Now all of a sudden that's not so bad.
No. Yeah, that's cold weather. I think you're right. I think he wants to go where it's warm. That's not New York.
Nope.
New York. I wonder if the Raiders want him. Aguilar's a free agent.
That's a 3.5 hour drive from Long Beach where he grew up, so that ain't that far.
No.
45-minute flight on a good day.
Dude, if you have Watson, Juju, and Darren Waller, and Josh Jacobs, that's not a bad offense at all.
And Nelson Aguilar? Come on.
I don't like that either. It's only fun when the Broncos appear to be.
We're stocking up the whole AFC West.
This game sucks.
Juju goes to Kansas City.
Oh my God. They don't need him. I refuse.
Nah, they should spend all their capital and their money on offensive linemen. That's what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they realize that now,
I
unfortunately.
think it's going to be an interesting offseason. It's going to be a fun one, too. I mean, there's going to be some big names that I think are jumping ship and going elsewhere.
It is going to be a really fun offseason.
It will be. I think the salary cap is gonna screw with a lot of teams, Steelers being one of them, because of the COVID situation. So,
The Patriots, though, they're going to have like 90 million. What, Belichick is pissed that Tom Brady won, dude.
and they have like a shit ton of draft picks. So, yeah, I just think it's going to be fun just watching what people do. Like I personally want Allen Robinson to go to the Steelers because, dude,
I've wanted A-Rob to be a Niner since the Jags drafted him, man. I love that guy.
I know.
I want to see A-Rob in Miami. That's where I want to see him.
With Tua?
Yeah.
Why?
I just do. Feels right. You ever just feel like something feels right?
Yeah, but not that. Sorry, Troy. But yeah, no. Tua, no. He needs to go somewhere where someone can throw him deep and consistently to be good, to be great.
Well, Deshaun Watson going to Miami.
Well, now you're just changing the game.
All right. We've done our 4 questions. We did actually more than 4, I think. So, Linda, G, we're going to start with you for your 2-point conversion. Your get it off your chest time. Your speak on whatever you want to speak on, preach on whatever you want to preach on. Go.
Man, we covered like all of my super passionate takes. We talked about women. We talked about kickers. We talked about Truly. I got all my feelings out there. I guess I just.
I got a question for you, and then maybe you can rant on. I saw a tweet earlier from you that you were complaining to Netflix about a show with a short series. Can you touch on that?
Okay, so I told you I didn't go to work today, so I laid in bed and I was like, I could watch the same show I've seen 48 times, Criminal Minds, but I was like, I'll start something new. And our friend Angie suggested the Winx saga, and they're like fairies. I can't describe it well, but there were only 6 episodes, and it left with a woman's neck getting broken. Like that's how it ended. I was like, now I have questions. What the hell is 6 episodes? That's not a season. That's a preview.
How long were these episodes?
An hour.
So you had 6 hours of TV. What do you think is a good, like a floor? What's the floor for episodes? Because you watch Criminal Minds all the time, and that shit's like 20-something episodes a season, right? Supernatural, that's a lot of episodes. Come on.
I know, and I've watched them all.
So you've been a little spoiled with some of the shows. So I'm asking, what is the floor? Like, what's the limit for number of episodes that is okay?
13.
13?
It's a very specific number.
I'm happy with double digits.
It depends on, okay, so like if the subject material is something that's like maybe true, like true crime or whatever, 4 episodes, I don't give a shit. I know that ends.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about
you're making up a story and you stopped after 6 episodes? No, I know they have more to share, and I swear to God, if I don't get a season 2, I'm writing Netflix a letter.
What's the name of this show?
It's called Fate, the Winx saga, and it's like magic, but also like dark magic. It's like Gossip Girl meets Harry Potter meets Vampire Diaries.
Wow.
And I ate that shit up.
Hit all 6 episodes real quick.
Yeah.
I just finished watching Power, which I'd never seen before. And holy, what's up?
HBO's Power?
Power was on Stars. Yeah.
Oh.
It was 50 Cent show. It was about like a dude who is a fucking drug kingpin and he wants to open a nightclub in New York. And hilarity ensues. And by hilarity, I mean a lot of people fucking die. That shit was so good, though. I gotta tell you, it was really good. The only thing that threw me off, like it was suggested to me by a friend. She told me how good it was. Got me locked in the first episode. I was good. There's a lot of man ass in that show.
Yeah,
There's a lot of sex, which is
and they're all
fine.
good.
And all the man ass that you can want is all over that show. It really.
What's the name of that again?
It's called Power. It's on Hulu. I swear to God, like it literally motivated me to continue to go to the gym. I'm like, look at this right ass.
Like, mine does not look like that.
Not look like that when I'm doing that. I gotta go work out.
and Linda G, they're all good-looking men. Like none of them.
They're all fucking ripped.
Yeah,
like,
none of them are subpar at all.
I will watch literally any show if everyone is attractive enough. It's ridiculous. Sometimes I finish those. I'm like, I don't even know what that was about, but every single human could have had it.
You be watching? You watch those reality shows too? Then I assume.
No.
I got enough real life drama. No.
I got locked into selling Sunset on Netflix.
What the hell is that?
Bro, it's these snobby bougie bitches from Southern California selling these multi-million-dollar homes. And I swear to you, I spent one weekend watching all 3 seasons. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm still watching. Quit asking me. No, I watch, like, the most reality TV I watch is like Tiny Homes, and I watch it. And I'm like, I would not be able to do that. Like, I love the idea, and then I watch it, and I'm like, oh no.
That's an excessive amount of work on my part.
Dude, every small home, the bed is. This is another thing I have a problem with. Every small tiny home, the bed is in a loft. I don't want to. I can't climb a ladder to get into bed. That is going to be an issue.
I smoke way too much weed to climb a ladder.
Yeah, no. I fell off the bunk bed ladder in college. I don't trust them anymore.
Yeah, you can't do it. So what are you watching now that this 6-episode show is done?
Oh, I started Firefly Lane. It's also really bad with really attractive people and not very many.
Firefly Lane?
Yeah, it's like Katherine Heigl and some other really famous broad, and they like grew up best for. I don't know. Listen, I just laid in bed. This is the longest I've sat upright all day. I was so
Dude, you had a fantastic Super Bowl Monday then.
Yeah, and I just got a text that we don't work again tomorrow. So
yay!
Fantastic. I mean, the road is icy. I literally can't go anywhere, but at least I also don't have to go to work.
What's the temperature hovering around there in Oklahoma?
No, in this spare bedroom, about 412 degrees. It's so cold. It's like it was like 14, I think, most of the day.
Yeah, when I woke up this morning, it was 17 degrees. I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I didn't like that. And they're calling for like the possibility of snow here. Like 5 out of the next 7 days. What the fuck is that?
What the fuck? Is that the thing you're going to rant about? Snow?
I mean, we've been ranting about whatever, but yeah, I am California fucking weak right now, man. I lived out there for 13 years. I don't appreciate having to warm my car up for 15 minutes before I got to go somewhere.
I am the worst car warmer upper.
You just don't do it?
Yeah. I text my mom when I get in the car on the way to work. I'm like waiting for my windshield to defrost. She's like, we do this every morning. I'm like, yeah. I'm not coming outside early.
Yeah, but I get that, though, because sometimes I just need to go and leave, and I'm like, oh, well, I ain't going nowhere.
You know they have those gadgets where you can start your car from inside, right?
Yeah, I lived in California, man. I didn't need that shit.
Yeah, apparently. You need it now. You should get that.
On my drive back here, it was my stop in Colorado. I stopped at Robbie Rumboy's. I stopped at Robbie's house and stayed with him for the night. And when I got out of the car, I was wearing like shorts and a sleeveless tee because that's what I wore when it was 70 degrees and I left California. It was like fucking 19 in Colorado Springs, and I was like, "What is this fucking shit? What is happening here?"
Yeah, but 19 in Colorado Springs is like 32 where you are right now. It's not the same. East Coast cold, where you are now, is just bitter cold. It's like bone chilling cold. Here,
It's like hurt your face cold. That's some bullshit cold.
Yeah, New Jersey cold is brutal. Colorado cold isn't that bad. You can wear shorts in Colorado cold.
I would literally was wearing shorts in the Colorado cold.
I just don't like when it's cold and it doesn't snow, because snow is like so pretty that when I'm like, oh, well, then it's okay. But like when it's just stupid cold and windy, I'm like, what the fuck is for?
Yeah, it's that wind that like bites through your fucking clothes.
Gives me like a sunburn.
Yeah, for sure. Thank God we have to wear a mask everywhere now, because now I actually am blocking my face. And my beard is clearly doing its work right now. It's doing God's work.
There you go. You're designed for this weather. All right, your turn, Stoner. What are you gonna rant on?
Well, shit, we were just ranting about whatever, but I mean,
weather.
Which I gotta talk about Tom Brady, man.
Okay.
I know we didn't want to mention his name.
You cannot say his name. You have to say TB12 or Giselle's husband.
Look, that dude, all right, Mr. Giselle.
There we go.
who open mouth kisses his kids and wears UGG boots. People are considering him to be the GOAT of GOATs, and I think they need to reel it back a little bit, because in the grand scheme of things, he's not the GOAT of any GOATs. He's not better at football than Michael Jordan was at basketball. I don't think he's better at football than LeBron James is at basketball. I think he's had the better career than anyone maybe that we've ever seen in the history of football, clearly, and the majority of other athletes in every sport. Having a better resume and a better career doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best player of all time. We should look at guys like Charles Haley, who won 5 Super Bowls, and Robert Ory, who won all those NBA championships, and say, look, they played their part, right? They were solid players, but it doesn't make them the best ever at their position or in the game. Mr. Giselle is really good at football. Don't get it twisted. But I would not rank him higher than Michael Jordan or even Wayne Gretzky. If we're talking about GOATs, like Wayne Gretzky is far and away the best hockey player of all time. And I don't even like hockey that much. But I mean, he's light years ahead of anybody that's behind him. And I can't, from a skill level, I don't think that we can put Mr. Giselle on the same plane as those guys. On a resume level, yes. But fuck that dude, because I'm tired of him winning shit, man. Honestly. It needs to stop. Someone needs to break him.
I couldn't do another Mahomes Super Bowl, man. I couldn't do it. I was heavily rooting for the Bucs last night, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm back to being a full-fledged Broncos fan today. But my daughter's father, their entire family are Chiefs fans. They sent me pictures all day yesterday of my daughter in Chiefs shirt. I was like, I can't do it. And none of them wanted to talk to me today. I'm like, you have my kid, though. Somebody has to answer the phone.
You got reasons, right? Yeah, and like me, everyone said to me, like, how are you rooting for the Chiefs? They beat the Niners last year. And I'm like, nah, man, the refs beat us. They didn't call a hold. Joey Bosa was getting held on that long-ass play to Tyreek Hill that really opened up the floodgates. And it was nice to see the refs give it back to the Chiefs last night. But, I mean, I tweeted out early that, the NFL should be ashamed, and, the Shield is clearly wanting that dude to win. But we talked about it earlier. I don't think it would have mattered. Like, a couple of those penalties were shitey calls, but at the end of the day, I don't think it really would have mattered, because they were completely out fucking classed and outplayed.
Yeah.
But but seriously, fuck that dude that used to play in New England.
Well, I mean, okay, here's my whole problem with the TB12. He went to a team that was loaded. It's not like he won the Super Bowl on the Jets. It's not like he won the Super Bowl without any supporting players. He won Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. He brought Rob Gronkowski back. He had a defense that was.
They brought in Leonard Fournette too. I mean,
Ronald Jones. I mean, it's not like he surrounded himself.
And Donegan too to fill out the defensive line. I mean, he's been there, but like, yeah, you got guys that are talented NFL players. Levante David's an All-Pro. Yeah. Like, come on, man.
You didn't win with. It's not like you lifted these guys up and made them better, though you did a little, but it's not like you're playing with the Jets. You were playing with a team that was loaded before you got there. And I just, no one's like, oh my God, I heard the mayor said that they should start naming, that they should name Tampa after him. I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me? Are you kidding
me? They did that the second they signed him. He sold Tampa Brady shirts.
It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, let's go to I want to see him go to a team that doesn't have those supporting players and win a Super Bowl. Then maybe I can get on board. Maybe. Doubtful.
Yeah, we can give you a couple, man. Go somewhere that's
married supermodel. So, his moral compass is slightly skewed. But I just,
He had surgery. He had plastic surgery, too. I mean, let's be honest. His face shape has changed.
Yeah, you don't work out a jawline. That's not how that works.
Right? I mean, your bones don't get smaller, bro.
Trust me, I've tried.
Haven't we all? Yeah, bro, he's got some shit. Like, I mean, I think we should give him credit, though. He did, after how many years in New England, to learn a new offense is not easy, and to buy into it for someone who won so many Super Bowls, I think is not an easy thing to do. So you got to give him credit for being a professional and for being a fucking good football player, no doubt. But fuck that dude, bro.
Yeah, I don't have to give him credit for anything, quite honestly. I don't. Yeah. I don't feel like I need to. So on that, Linda, G, tell us where we can find you and where we can find you, especially.
You can follow me at Lindellians on Twitter. Or
that's a real name, by the way.
You could probably just look up Linda and find it somewhere. And then I'm on Fantasy Football Confidential.
With dandelions.
I know. That's what everybody told me. I'm like, no, like Funyuns. But it's too late to change it.
Funyuns are the best stuff.
It's too late to change it. I said I was going to change it.
Why there, would you?
I felt like Robert Tunyon. Anyway, you can find me Wednesdays on FF_confidential. And then usually Mondays, I do a podcast with a couple people I met through the Scott Fishbowl called at Fantasy Besties, but I ditched them tonight to go live with you guys.
Oh, so. Thank you. I appreciate that. Take that.
Was that Troy? You did that with Troy?
No, that's it's Kevin Tompkins, Andrew Cooper, JB, and JB Berry, and Jordan Loop. So we're all in the Scott Fishbowl 102 league or 102 group chat. And then we started like a best ball and there was like 14 of us. And we realized that we were the only 5 talking every single day. So we shortened it again to another small group and then started chatting. And one day we were like, we might as well go live. We're going to talk anyway. So.
Yeah, I know those guys. Kevin's a solid dude, man. He knows his stuff.
Yes, he does. He's good peoples.
Yeah, he's solid. He's really good.
Stoner, where can I find you?
Fantasy FB Stoner on Twitter and Instagram. I'm a free agent at the moment. Just kind of doing my own thing and bouncing around, and I like to call myself a road warrior.
Don't you have like a clothing or something?
What's that?
Don't you have a clothing line?
Yeah, Viridian Global thought it would be fun to put me on a shirt for Christmas. And nice. A few people, even Howard Bender actually bought a Stoner Christmas shirt, which is awesome. But yeah, I just submitted some new ideas. It's not always going to be my face. Yeah, so I'm working with Viridian Global. They make the best stuff, man. I got your Sons. I got a Sons of Dynasty fucking Scully the other day. I got a Hot Box Scully. Like, yeah, they're really doing some good work partnering with all of the good crews that are running through the fantasy community. And their products are dope too. Like, really good quality shirts. Viridian Global. It's not just about the groups on fantasy either. They make shirts for El Jefe shirt for Justin Jefferson. You know, they got a film grinder shirt that I saw Tommy Moe wearing today. Like, yeah, they got some really quality designs. You know, Mark and Will, they do a fucking fantastic job. Yeah, so if you want to get over there and buy some stuff, like, hook it up. And if you got ideas, hit them on the DMs because they're always looking for ideas.
Yep, we're working on kicker shirts.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. It's the only position without a tab on the damn website.
I'm going to have to work on an anti-kicker shirt then. What's up, Cooter Doodle? She's so funny.
She is pretty funny.
Yo, her tomato shit today got me dying, by the way, since we were talking about TB12. We were talking about how we could call a tomato, or tomato. But the least we could do is continue to call TB12 a little bitch. I was fucking dead. I was so high when I saw that shit, I couldn't stop laughing. I love that girl. She's fucking hilarious, man. She did trip me out last week, though, or 2 weeks ago, when she ripped open the tea bag in the water. Did you see that one?
Yeah, no. She did a bunch of cringy videos. I had to stop watching them if we were to remain friends.
For me was the tea bag.
Oh, it was the wet socks for me.
Oh yeah, the wet socks are so bad. Yo, if you get a chance, you guys go back and check out her shit. Her content is fire, dude.
Her videos? We're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she did some crazy, stupid, cringy, like, but funny videos last week. They're awesome. Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
Well, I should let you know, like, I can't watch Criminal Minds. I can't watch anything that is, yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, she just, like, shoves her hand into a peanut butter jar to spread peanut butter on a sandwich instead of using a knife. And
yeah. She was making a cup of tea and ripped open the tea bag and, like, poured the tea into the water while she's talking, too, though. Like,
yeah, she's, like, talking about football. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's yeah.
I'm back on Twitter.
Just go and watch today's tomato video. If you see tomato video, watch it. Yeah, you'll love it. Probably.
I probably will. And I actually loved you guys. I want to thank both of you for being here. It was very enlightening and very special. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Linda
thanks
and
for
I
having
go
us
way
on.
back. So, I mean,
yeah.
it was kind of dope to find out that she was going to be on here with me because I think it's been a while since we've done something
since
like
we did that redraft league and everybody got blackout drunk live on air.
Oh yeah, I think I was there.
Yeah, you were definitely there. I was there.
I
think I was there.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely open and willing to do it again. So thanks for having us. Yeah, I appreciate it.
I appreciate your talking to me, and I will see everyone in 2 weeks. Next week, Kyle will be on with the press coverage podcast.
Okay.
You guys, who do you guys have on for your next week? Or this?
We have Matt Harmon on Wednesday, which is, like, aside from Stoner, who I found through finding the fantasy football community, but Marcus G and Matt Harmon were, like, the first two people that I ever followed and started taking. I was like, oh shit, there's, like, a whole subculture of fantasy football, and now I'm here. And so, like, it was great.
You lump me in with those guys? Jesus Christ.
Well, I found you through them. I was like, there's a guy on Twitter who just gets stoned and talks about football, like goals. And here we are.
I swear to you, I was looking for a few weeks through the community to try to figure out, like, I knew that I wanted to create a brand, and I didn't see anybody who was like a stoner brand. And I'm like, dude, that's me. It has to be me. And then I started with the sloth, And I swear, when people got upset when I switched out my profile picture, so many dudes, even Beezy, thought I was like, he was like, dude, I thought you were a black guy. So you're telling me you're an old bald white guy with a beard? What the fuck? You've been lying to me this whole time. I heard that from so many people, and I'm like, that's your racial stereotypes you need to figure out, because old bald white dudes smoke weed too.
Especially this one.
Yeah, especially this motherfucker. I'm gonna go get high right now. Hey, brother Matt, what's up, my man? Brother Matt, love that guy. I saw his comment come up.
Oh, I see it now. Thank you guys. Thank everyone who joined us. And I will see you in 2 weeks. I will see you guys. And Cooter, I will see your video on tomatoes. And I will see you guys on Twitter. Thank you again. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks. You guys have a good one.
Thanks.